Hello. In this video I'll take you through the steps of an OpenSubdiv workflow. So usually it's a good idea to start with a plane. That's what I prefer to start with. I'll just create here the center it on the X and Y axis to give this a gray material and black object color. And now I'll just turn off the grid, G. I'll just right click and editable poly. Turn off show cage and apply symmetry. I'll just move this edge here to the center. And symmetry will give us the other side. And I can begin creating the basic shape of your model here. And then you can select these edges and move them and extrude. So it's a good idea just to see your model from every angle so you can get the right curvature, the right details, the right shape here. You can also turn on face constraints or edge constraints and move the vertices along the edges here. You can also insert loops to further refine the mesh. Alright, so let's say that I'm satisfied with this mesh right here. Now normally what you want to do is block out your entire mesh. So whether you're working on a character or a car, you want to block out the whole thing. Well, in this case I'm just making this one shape, so I'll just go with this. Now I can start creating additional details here, but it'll be more difficult because of the limited density here. So it'll be difficult to create small details. For example, let's say if I want a small hole right here, I only have one polygon to work with. Of course it is possible. Regularize and just make this small here and then go inwards. I can of course create the small hole, but creating additional detail will be even more difficult because of the limited topology here. So I'll just undo this. So what I will do instead is select the edges where I want there to be sharpness. So let's say right here. And now I can give this a crease value. I'll just go all the way to 1, the maximum. And now I can apply OpenSubdiv and see if I like this shape here. I may want to add some more edges. Let's say this edge right here. So I'll just apply smooth on top to get rid of the smoothing. And now I can apply edit poly right on top. So now we have the same mesh but with a greater density. So now it's much easier to create further detail here. So once again I can just delete the left side here, apply symmetry, and begin refining this further and creating additional details. So here I'll just extrude, get this kind of detail right here. Here I can use set flow available right here. I can also activate normal constraints, which will constrain the movement of the selection to the normals of the object. Here we have an n-gon. You can choose to get rid of it or you can keep it. For now it's not really important. It may be a little bit too early to bring out this detail. It all depends on how well it subdivides. And when I'm creating a new detail that I'm not sure about, I like to put in a new edit-apply modifier. That way if I don't like it, I can just delete the whole modifier and try again. Let's say that I select these polygons and inset here. And now I will select these polygons, play it on the x-axis, move it to 0 and delete. Now I'll select these vertices, face constraints, and just move this here. And now I'll just select all these polygons and delete. And now I'll select these edges, extrude this out, play it on the x-axis, move this to 0, insert 2 segments through here, and then bridge. And once again, I can select all the edges I want to be sharp. I can select them myself, or I can use crease set. Set a good value here. Let's try 25. Select. Let's try increasing this. 45. There we are. I can also select some of them myself by holding Control and double clicking to loop this. You can see right here I need to weld right here. Double click here to loop these edges. Make sure I've got all the right ones selected here. And once I've got all the appropriate edges selected, I'll just create a set here. Give this a crease value, symmetry, OpenSubdiv, smooth, and edit poly. Now I can add even further detail. So this is a workflow where you just crease the edges, OpenSubdiv, edit poly on top, add more detail, crease the edges, OpenSubdiv, edit poly on top. You can eventually add many small details here. So you can see right here, I've got this kind of distortion right here happening. So I'll just undo this. So before inserting those holes, it would be a better idea to first insert a loop through here. And now that we have this edge going around here, we can now select these polygons, and by polygon, inset here, regularize to get all the edges to be even here. So the issue was that here on the edge, where we wanted sharpness, we had a pole, a vertex that had 5 edges connected to it. and that caused that bad deformation. So we want to remove that by first inserting a loop through here to isolate that topology right here, away from the edge. And you can see now we get much better subdivision here. And now that we have this topological density, it's now much easier to create all these small details. So I can continue to create even more details here. Now one very important thing to understand here is how you want the topology to be if you want there to be sharp edges. So for example, let's say you want there to be an extrusion right here, negative extrusion, and you would select these polygons, and you would inset right here, select these vertices, activate phase constraints. You want to straighten these out a little bit here to be like so. And now you can bevel this inwards here. You can use make planar to flatten this out. And now you can select this polygon, hold shift and click to select this whole loop of polygons. Hold shift and click here to convert to the border edges here. You can give this a crease value, let's say 0.2. You can apply OpenSubdiv. Alright, so we get this result right here. Now let's say that you want these edges to be sharp as well. So you can select them. And give them a crease value as well. But now when you subdivide, you get this result right here. If I turn off Iceland display, it's easier to see what's happening here. So basically, these edges want to remain sharp, but these polygons are still trying to smooth out. And what happens is that these polygons on top will overlap the sharp creasing here. So you don't want to have this loop going around here. So I'll just delete this edit poly modifier. What you want to do instead is have this kind of topology. So I'll just select these polygons, activate phase constraints, and scale this up. And now I will bevel this inwards instead. So this time, we do not have a loop going around here. And now, if I sharpen this up, you can see we no longer have that effect happening here. The surrounding polygons are not trying to go over here. So this will be a much better topological solution. But let's say you also want to create that detail right here. There's not enough topology to do so. If you select these polygons and bevel out, let's say I don't want this result right here. So here I would have to inset to get this detail right here. And then we have this bad topology. We have this loop going around here. Instead, what I can do is simply just cut this here myself. Now we have this topology. And now I can also perhaps move these edges up with edge constraints. And now I've gotten rid of that loop going around here, which we had previously like this. And now I can bevel this in here. Maybe select these edges in set flow. And now I can select the appropriate edges here. And add a crease value. Now we get this crease right here. Now what do we do about these n-gons? Well, here what I can do is simply just connect here and connect here. We do get these triangles, but in many situations triangles will not really hurt the subdivision. We just want to test it out and see if the triangles will affect it negatively. What you can also do to avoid the triangles is to simply, let's say, cut right here and then connect these vertices here. That way we avoid the triangles. So you pretty much want to loop these edges in on themselves. And once you've got enough density here, you can start adding all sorts of small details here. In the next video, we'll show you how you can add all sorts of small details here. Thank you for watching, and take care.